by the time we get to Daniel chapter 6, Daniel is not a young man. Many years have elapsed since chapter 1. In chapter 1, Daniel and many other children from Jerusalem were brought. They'd been snatched up. They had been carried away into exile. And now a significant time has passed since that time, since Daniel chapter 1. Daniel chapter 6, Daniel's probably around the age of 70. He'd be the oldest person in this room. Maybe even in his 80s. So there's been plenty of time for things to change. His accent that he had whenever he was a boy is probably unnoticeable to the people around him. His family by now would have blended in with the community. His loyalty for his adopted country, as we see in the book of Daniel, is absolutely clear. And he was absolutely consistent in the things that he said and did. Even though all these changes in all these different kings had come in and reigned over this new land that he was a part of, his commitment to this new country was unchanged. The changes in government and structure in his life, what we find is Daniel is living a life of consistency, no matter what happens around him. And that's an important thing for us to notice, that our life should be a life that is marked by consistency. That doesn't mean we don't grow. I hope we grow. Hopefully we don't stay consistent in being a babe in Christ. But hopefully we do see a faithfulness that continues throughout our life. And we've been talking a lot about faithfulness lately. Hopefully that is something that stays consistent in our life. Now, he is confronted with kind of a peculiar challenge here in chapter 6. And this is at a time later on in his life when he might be tempted to say, you know what, this is a very tough situation. You know, I've lived a consistent, loyal life up until this point. Maybe I can just take off 30 days. You know, I've lived 70, 80 years. What's taken off a month? And I think maybe the longer we go in our life, the tougher this can get, especially as Americans, especially after we retire and we get complacent. It's easy whenever that part of our life relaxes for us to relax other parts of our life. I want us to realize that whenever we look through scriptures, there's no picture of retirement, especially in our spiritual life. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to retire in your workplace, but in our spiritual life, there is no picture of us slowing down or stopping. We continue to fight the fight. We continue to be aware of the sins in our life and to reject them. We become more aware of the temptations in our life and we resist them. To be able to get to your final decades and run right through the tape, as we see many sprinters do. We see someone start off a race and they run and run and they run and they don't slow down towards the end, but instead they try to accelerate and they lean towards the finish to finish strong. Straight through the tape. that should be a picture of our life. It's not a matter of, I'm going to run this mile and rest the next. It's a matter of sprinting through the finish. Eric Liddell, who ran in the Olympics successfully, was once asked how he was successful in running the 400 meters, which he won the gold medal in 1924. He said, "The secret to my success in running the 400 meters is I run the first 200 meters as fast as I can. And then the second 200 meters, with God's help, I run faster." So he doesn't slow down towards the end. That's not how he won Olympic gold. That's not how he reached his goal. It wasn't by slowing down towards the end of his life. It was with God's help speeding up. We should be running with all our might as we see the finish in view. It's not a matter of, I'm getting older, I'm going to stop doing the things that got me to this point, and I'm going to hand it off to someone else and let them carry on. It's a matter of, I'm going to continue running as hard as I can. We have to have a life that is marked with consistency. And the only way that we are consistent at 70, 80 years old is by being consistent when we're 17. It's by starting now. At whatever age you are now, it's about being consistent now is the way that you are consistent later.